In this video, we'll see how to create a report that'll return the properties from the cells models in all your cell libraries. Now I don't want to create the report in my cell library, so I'll create a new DGN file in the workspace so it sees those cells and has those available to search on. And in this blank DGN file, we've got a list of available cell libraries that we set up in a previous video. This is coming from the configuration variable ms_cell list. So whatever libraries it sees in that list, it'll list out here. So what we want to do is create a report that'll read all the models in all of those cell libraries in that list and return us properties of those. I'll click on reports and then we'll create a new report. And I'll just call this new report cell. So in the report we can choose where to search. So do we want to search in the model in this file? Do we want to search in another file? Or do we want to choose a path? In this case we want to choose a path. And then we could type in a configuration variable or type in a specific path. I've got a few that come up in the list here, and one of those is that MS cell list I was talking about. So if I say search in this path, it's going to search all of these cell libraries. Okay, so we've told it where we want to search. Next we want to tell it what to search in that location. So under objects, I don't have any cells in this file, so I need to tell it to give me properties of all the available properties that I want to search for. And then I'll click here under selected field, and this will bring up a list of things I can search for. So if I click on this pick list here, I can search for DGN elements, files, models, links, so forth. So I'll just choose models because we just looked at how a cell is a model, and I'll say return me all the different types of models. So I'll just check on that one and say OK. So now it's going to query all of the models in this path. I also want to get some properties of the file so it can return me which file it sees those models in. If I returned file here, it would put them on separate rows. So what I want to do is I want to return the file properties as a subset of that. I'll click on this drop down and I'll choose this option. So the model resides in a design file, and I'll choose the file properties that it resides in. So now it's going to return me a list of the models and what files they reside in. So I'll click OK there, and that defines the query. Now I just need to tell it what to return from those. And I do that over here on the left side, so I can go to my report. There's properties to define which columns I want to return in this report. So I'll choose columns, I'll right click and say add columns, and I'll say, well, let's return the file name. So I'll say files, general, file name, and that'll tell me which cell library it comes from. And then I'll go to the model properties because that's where the majority of these properties are at. I'll say return me the model name, so that would be the cell name. Return me the model description, which is the cell description. But you could check any of these properties you want to return information on. The next thing I want to get information on is about, can it be placed as a cell? Can it be placed as an annotation cell? Or what type of cell if you want that? So you could check those on. And finally I want to get working units about that. So what is the master unit? What is the master unit readout, the subunit labels, the accuracy of the file, the resolution of the file, working area, solids area. So I want to get all those types of properties about in this case, the settings assigned to each one of these models, and make sure they match my seed file. So I'll click OK right there, and that returns a list of these columns. And if I wanted to be more particular, I can change the names of these. So I could say this isn't the model name, it's the cell name, and cell description, and so forth. And this will basically just change the titles of the columns that get returned. So now I've got my report defined. I can just click on the preview results here, and it'll return me the values of that report. So now we can evaluate those different cells. And you can see how it's returned the file name for all of the models in that first cell library in the list, and all of the properties about that cell. So again, at this point we would start reviewing these settings. I'm seeing some inconsistencies already here in the master units, the way they're reading out. One is survey feet, one is international feet. So you would go through and review those. Also subunits, I see some inconsistencies. The resolution, I'm seeing inconsistencies there. So this is what I mean. As you copy in cell libraries from other sources, they're going to be based on those other sources' units and seed files. So we need to now remap these over to the settings in our workspace. And if I wanted to save these results out to Excel, I can go back to the Reports dialog, click on the Export button, and this will bring up another dialog that allows me to define the name, define which path I want to put it in, and then click the Save button. This will create an Excel file in that directory. This completes the video on generating reports of the cell library.